Hey YouTubers, I have literally, I don't have any hair, so been pulling my hair out, trying to, you can see this is crazy, but I've actually made some progress finally after about 5 days of pumping and walking away and coming back and pumping and walking away. I've gone through about three, three jars of brake fluid, and it's bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, but the air is not going anywhere because it's a horrible design. Horrible, horrible, horrible design. You know, with the reservoir, when this thing is upright in the right position, you end up with air built up here at the top banjo on the master cylinder. Then, when the brake line comes across and the brake is in position, and the caliper and the hose is coming up and over the top, you end up with air in the top of the hose, and you will never, ever, ever be able to pump with the master cylinder to get that air out. You have to gravity or force that air out manually somehow. So the best I could do to get started is I took my syringe and I reverse bled by pushing fluid into the caliper reverse, and I got enough fluid to finally come up to the master cylinder and air would bleed out of the reservoir, and that got me close enough. And then I still had the brake mounted in position, and I was pumping and pumping, and I'm bleeding, and there's air bubbles coming out, and I'm like, oh cool, but my thumb literally is killing me right now because I've been pumping with my thumb. But it doesn't matter how much air comes out of there, you're not getting that little blurb of air that's in the top of the hose is not going to come out of there. Trust me. So what I did, like I said, I forced reverse fed fluid back into the caliper. It came up, I got air bubbles coming out of here finally. I said, okay, I'm close. Then I finally started pumping to the point where I can feel the piston on the caliper advancing. And I said, okay, I'm making positive ground. So then I just kept pumping and pumping and pumping until the piston comes out, maybe a quarter of an inch or so. And then I just grabbed the piston and I squeezed it with my hand, and I noticed now that I have the caliper way below and I've got everything set up so gravity can get air to come naturally up to the top to the reservoir, I finally noticed a ton of bubbles coming out of the caliper. And I've done it 3 or 4 times now, and I've actually got some feel in my master cylinder. There's nothing on there, but I can feel the fluid in there now. Plus I can see the fluid advancing, pushing the piston out by how much it drops every time I pump it. So I've done this 3 or 4 times. I finally got some air to come out of here, and when I do slide the caliper back in position over the pads, I do actually have piston feel. I'm just trying to get every little bit of air out of there. But this was the best solution to a really horrible brake design. You have to get the caliper way below the reservoir. You have to get gravity working for you so that at the master cylinder, I have this actually mounted on backwards. I just turn the bolt around, put it in one side, tighten it up. So now I have everything set up so that gravity can take air up through the reservoir, and I've made some good grounds. This is probably the best solution I can throw out you. The Mighty Vac did not work. I tried reverse. I tried using the syringe to suck fluid from the bleeder valve through. That did not work. All it did was suck air through the threads of the bleeder screw. I tried filling my other syringe with fluid and sticking it down in the hole of the reservoir and forcing fluid down that way. That did not work. I was not actually able to force any fluid through that way. For those of you that are having the same, and this just started because I flushed the fluid in my Beamer, and I figured, well, at the time I had leftover .4 brake fluid, and I figured, well, this has been 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. I figure I'm gonna flush this, and this fluid was pretty bad too. It was all brown and crusty. I just wanted to get everything fresh, and it's been 5 days of pulling my hair out. So give this a shot. You can start, like I said, take a syringe or some way of forcing the fluid through the bleeder backwards with this setup like this, so you can get all the air to come up as much as you can through the reservoir. Get yourself set up so you got gravity working in your favor. I pump that out so don't pump it out too far, because you can actually pump the piston out of the caliper. So I wouldn't go more than maybe a 1/4 inch, because oops, you don't want to go further. Then you got meat on your brake pad, because then your piston's going to pop out of the inside of your caliper, and that's going to be a problem for you. So about a 1/4 inch, squeeze it in. You're going to see air come out of here, out of the reservoir. Repeat as pump it up again. You can actually watch the fluid slowly draining into the caliper. Pump it out a 1/4 inch, squeeze the piston in. You're going to see more air, and I would keep repeating that until you don't see any air. So I hope that tip works for you. Good luck.